Michael McCrudden. Welcome.
I'm dying!
He is...
Oh my god, the burger. These are the best.
What responsibilities did you have as Mr. Mississauga, a 5-year-old boy with a...
This is heavy. This is on its own a meal. But I was the reason I'm the crazy one or the wildest one.
You were canceled for... One of the reasons they came after you is because of videos.
It goes from candy to cheesecake to cheeseburgers. It's the order in which they're doing it. I think that's hurting me the most.
Yes. Welcome to Fat Ones, the show with big questions and even bigger portions. With each round, the questions get tougher, the stomach gets fuller, and the challenge becomes not just answering, but answering while battling the slow, creeping effects of pure gluttony. It's not about spice or heat, it's about willpower. Who can keep their mind sharp as their body starts waving the white flag? There's only one way to find out. Let's dig in. Sitting across from me at the Fat Ones table, we got the man who's made a career out of breaking down the rise of the world's biggest stars. Now it's time to see if he can handle the rise of his cholesterol and blood sugar. Michael McCrudden, welcome.
Thank you. That was amazing. What an introduction.
To start this off, we are going to start with a Reese's half-pound cup. And not only is this filled with Reese's peanut butter, also the little Reese's pieces inside.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've ever...
This is heavy. This is on its own a meal.
Yeah, I could freeze this, put it in a sock, and bludgeon you to death with it. And that would work.
A weapon.
All right, Michael McCrudden, you have, before they were famous on YouTube, it's 3.5 million followers. You got many more on TikTok, over 1.5 million. Now, before breaking down the rise of celebrities, you were just a kid in Mississauga, right? Strutting your stuff as a child model, tearing up the floor as a little Irish dancer. You even won the crown of Mr. Mississauga at the age of 5 years old.
That's correct, I did, yes.
Most kids at that age are just trying to figure out how to tie their shoes. You were making a living in entertainment. Looking back at that now, what lessons did young Michael pick up as just a boy that you were able to bring into adulthood, making a living as a YouTuber?
Wow. Do I take a bite of this?
Yeah, it's time to go for it.
I should have done that while you were chatting. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother. Gives me some time to think about it. Hold on. Oh, it's hard.
Oh, you gotta have teeth. Yeah, solid teeth.
Layers to
Have
this.
good teeth for this.
Are we eating the whole thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we are.
We're going to be here a while. Okay. First thing that comes to mind is having great hair.
Okay.
I learned at an early age. Back then it was the part down in the middle. Backstreet Boy Nick Carter had it. I was rocking it at 5. I started getting into products, hair gel. You're saying we're learning about tying our shoes. I started getting into a bit of vanity. Now, I grew up with a mother, very beautiful, but a sister who was an Irish dancer. She was on the box of peaches and cream oatmeal.
Okay.
She was a star. Everyone going grocery shopping with their parents would see my sister with a spoon, right? So she's about 5 years older than me. She's 10, I'm 5. And the envy of all the attention she was getting definitely struck a nerve and would shape me for the rest of my life.
There was a competition happening between you and your sister. How much older was she than you?
So, all my siblings were about 4 years apart, but me and her's a 5-year gap.
Okay.
And she was a good-looking girl, right? But something about when they put me in the modeling and did my hair and put jean jackets on and all that stuff, all of a sudden I had something that none of my other siblings were bringing to the table. I was the handsomest little fella, and that's definitely before I was on Fat Ones. Yeah. I was a good-looking kid, and it gave me
good-looking 5-year-old boy, a handsome 5-year-old.
Yeah, man. I was like Leonardo DiCaprio, just cute as a button, up until my 40s or maybe late 30s.
Okay, Teen Beat Magazine. Mm-hmm. So this competition put you in a position where you're a boy with pomade, waxing your hair, and you realize now that this is an aesthetic business. You got to look good to do this. As we are eating a half a pound of Reese's peanut butter.
It's really good. A mouthful. It really, I don't know if we're going to get into it on this show, but I got into modeling. And then a big part of my life was the opposite of this, was not eating. But yeah, I really, early on, 5 years old, not only did I win Mr. Mississauga, like it was like, I broke, like they were like, he's going to be Mr. Canada if we pursued it more. There was people calling my mom, I got auditions to be on Degrassi and all sorts of like Are You Afraid of the Dark? Canadian TV shows. So I was just this really cool, charismatic young guy, and I just loved the attention. And that was it. My dad tried to take me to do soccer, and I'm like, not enough attention. There's 12 guys on this team. There's not enough about me.
Yeah.
So it changed the compass of my whole life trajectory.
For round 2,
Wow.
we put the half-pound Reese's Pieces aside.
That was heavy.
And we are going to take some Canadian style. This is a Canadian-style pizza. It contains mushrooms, pepperoni, and bacon. It is lovely. And while you dig into this, I have a question for you.
I love this.
You come from a hard-working Irish immigrant family, right?
Correct.
You're one of 4 siblings, but you were always told you were the most Irish of the bunch. Reason being is because out of all your siblings, you were the one actually conceived in Dublin, Ireland. And right after a Bruce Springsteen concert, no less. Now, that's a pretty legendary origin story. When did you first hear this little nugget of family history? Also, why? Why would they tell you that? That is haunting knowledge to have as a boy.
My mother was a bit of a prude, so there was no education about the birds and the bees. Kids came from her eating an egg out of the fridge. I was mystified about the whole birthing, procreation, Irish Catholic parents. I didn't even see them kiss until late into my 20s. But as I started getting more, raunchy with raunchy videos on YouTube and pushing the boundaries, I started pulling out a side to my parents they had shelved up and put away. So I would be the one that would be like throwing keggers, and they'd come home, and then, they actually would break character and maybe have a beer with my buddies, or my mom would start like cooking pancakes for the morning, and everyone was starting to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
So then I started to pull back the curtain on being like, what's going on? Where did you have us? Because we all grew up in Canada. And they said, all of the kids were conceived in Canada, born in Canada, but I was the reason I'm the crazy one or the wildest one, because it was one of those nights, they'd already had 3 kids, not planning on having any more, but Bruce Springsteen showed up in Dublin, Ireland, put on the show of a lifetime, and Mom was itching for it. She was itching for Bruce.
Yeah.
But she got stuck with my dad, Steve, and lo and behold, they didn't want another kid, but that night there was some magic. I was conceived, and I guess they're like, it must have been the rock and roll that makes you such a wild child.
In Ireland, that's called magic. Here in Canada, that's called an accident. And that's unfortunate. But so you didn't learn about the birds and the bees or a stork. You thought that when Bruce Springsteen comes to town, babies are made, which is true, by the way. But do you think, honestly, that because you were conceived in such a firestorm of entertainment and music, do you think that perhaps that it was your fate to be an entertainer? Truly, do you believe that that's a thing that could have happened?
Yeah, because I didn't get it from my dad. My dad's soccer, athleticism, mathematician. Like, me and him kind of look alike, and as I get older, I see the similarities. But growing up, I didn't even talk to the guy till I was like 30. Nothing in common. And, he's probably also afraid anything he says to me will end up on camera. My mom was game for a little bit of the attention. She was into that modeling, wanted to be famous at one point. Dad had no time for any of that. So, yeah, maybe my mom even got off with Bruce that night. That's still up for debate.
You could be Bruce's son. That is a shocking revelation. I wish Maury was around to confirm this. To be honest with you, he's right over here. So, all right. Well, that's great.
Good. One slice or more.
I think you should have at least 2 more big bites. We're supposed to feel the effects, and you've been just grazing here.
Wow. Oh, good. Canadian pizza is one of my favorites.
You can't go wrong with it. Wow, powerful. Okay. I'm just going to take a moment to let the audience know that we are being healthy, as the beverage of choice is Diet Coke. There's no calories in this. So, take your time. Have a sip of 0-calorie Diet Coke.
I noticed not a water, not a Caesar salad, not a...
I can get you a cup of Caesar dressing. We have it here if you like that. You can drink that instead of...
I'm getting full already.
Okay. Let's push it forward to the next food item.
Okay.
A legendary item. Fruit by the foot. Snack treat that children across the world enjoy. Some candy maker said, I need a foot of it. Give me a foot. Let's do a foot of candy. And a staple in lunch bags all over the place. We're going to enjoy a foot of it. And while we do that, I'd like to ask you, you've documented the rise of countless celebrities, but your own grind is a story of in itself, right? You were emptying trash bags on TV sets, and then you're starting to pitch your own sitcoms. Was there ever a moment where you thought, man, I made it, only to realize you didn't? But you didn't make it at all.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Things are happening.
Appreciate that.
Things are happening to your body right now. Your pancreas, if you hear a thump, that's not your television, phone, or computer breaking. That is his pancreas tapping out inside of his body.
Oh my God. I don't know how many people will be able to sign up for this. I'm adjusting a lot really quickly, answering very, I can't keep up with everything happening.
Keep it going.
I remember banking. Growing up, I loved this treat, by the way.
Yeah.
Who didn't have this hanging out of their mouth for, and a way for boys to compare their measurements?
Yep, you could use it to measure yourself. I also used to offer sweet punches to people. You wrap your hand in it, crack them in the teeth, and they get a little sweet treat.
Okay, so I remember I did the university thing. That didn't open up any doors. Man, that was scary. So then I went back to college, and I wanted to, I was a bit of a dunce, the good-looking guy thing. People always kind of treated me like a simpleton. So I said, I'm going to upgrade my skills. I'm going to learn how to write. I'm going to learn how to produce. And, going to that program, TV was mystifying to me. What's going on behind the door? And now all of a sudden I got armed with all the know-how and the honor grades that I could write a script.
Yeah.
I could put the show together. So I just want to get out there and get a job. So I did that, and the jobs were kind of shitty. So I made a bunch of shows. I'm like, at least one of these is going to hit. And my whole life was pretty much on hold. If you sell one show, you might make $50K. Or at least get a development deal.
Could have worked for years.
And start the journey of, not only can he star and entertain, and he's a Canadian entertainer, and there's potential with this kid to invest in him. Anyway, one by one, all those shows fell through. And it was my first early life crisis. I was only like 23 years old, 25, and then I'm like, all the fantasies, the dreams, one day I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna do something crazy, something big, something in entertainment. I was finding out it wasn't gonna be an easy journey. And soon after I found YouTube.
And that is what you're known for now, right? You take that Jim Carrey biopic you wrote, and you turn it into the very first before they were famous video, and that's what starts the whole thing. Your ambition to make film, you don't waste that. You don't waste the effort. It actually leads you into what you're known for, and it brings you your life right now.
So I took that whole script, and honestly, it was so long ago, Wikipedia was just getting started. Like, I look up Jim Carrey's birthday, and half the websites were incorrect. Like, everything was still scrambled online. So I know more about this guy than anyone. How do I make it was 3-minute video, but I called it Before They're Famous. I did before this, before that, then I introduced myself, and I did a chronological story of his come up with old clips, and I wrapped it up the same way I do today. And I just hit lightning in a bottle as the internet became the new primary source for storytellers.
It's a fantastic story and very inspiring. Let's continue to denigrate our own bodies by starting the next course, and that is the classic chicken tendy. Grab a chicken tendy for yourself.
Yes!
Chicken tendy wrapped in butter and batter.
Wow.
Deep fried for our heart's content. Cheers to you, sir. Please dig in. Listen, you've covered some pretty wild celebrity glow-ups, but let's flip this all on you right now. What's the most cringeworthy video, photo, or project from your own before they were famous that you wish could be erased from the internet forever? Something you did before you were who you are today.
Oh man, there's definitely something to do with Irish dancing. I remember having to do that in some like radio hosts radio show thing. They kind of got me pulled up my pants and kick around a little small room. And I'm like, this is the type of stuff people look for to ruin a career. Like, you know, like Tom Hardy, they found his MySpace.
Yeah.
And I had some pretty cringeworthy stuff out there, which is reasons why I came up with the show. I'm like, you know, I hope no one finds these embarrassing things. But then once before their famous got going and I had a daily audience, I remember eating Spam and thinking Spam was, you know, like it's the meat of tuna, right? Like it's kind of like garbage food. But I was blown away that my audience was like, bruh, I eat that shit every day. Like I love that stuff.
It's a delicacy in some places.
I know I'm barfing on camera. I'm treating it like garbage. It was more in my head than it was in my mouth.
Okay, let's go on to another classic, iconic dish.
I love these.
From the childhood of both myself and you. It's a Dunkaroo.
Oh, man, these are the best.
These are Cinnamon Toast Crunch Dunkaroos, and we love them.
What do you think these cost when we were kids? Because my family I always had one of these. They were bigger back then, I believe.
They were bigger back then. They must have been more expensive because anytime I asked for these, my mother would act like I was going to bankrupt the family. Like I had a crippling drug addiction. Yeah. And in a way, I guess I did. I was always a big kid. So, you know, perhaps she was just doing the Lord's work for me, but it didn't stick. Well, as you dunk into these Dunkaroos.
Oh, yeah.
And since we're eating our way through this interview, let's talk about food. Let's talk about weight.
Great.
Early in your career, you were modeling and trying to break into acting. You were all about being bone thin. Yeah. Now, fast forward a few years, life happens. You get older, COVID hits, the weight creeps up. Suddenly, you're seeing yourself on camera in a new way. You've been open about it. You've been working at it. But when your job involves being in front of millions of people, what does that do to your mindset? Does it change how you see yourself, how you approach your content, or even what you choose to put online?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for all that. Ups and downs, right? Like, when you look your best, even the audience, they treat you. I remember people used to write, he looks like Chris Pine in the comment, and that's got to be the best looking man in the. And then me and my wife joke around the house. I've turned into Chris Swine.
All right.
Listen, so to my defense, I was never biologically skinny. Like it was starving artist mode that kept me slim and trim.
Yeah. It
was lack of nutrition or lack of indulgence in like I only eat chicken Caesar salads. That's it. Yeah. Running. I used to be a very, very serious long distance runner, and the obsession with fame and putting yourself out there and the vanity of it all, that was a driving force. Then when you come into money or running a business and all the employees, it's really hard to make time for yourself. I did have a personal trainer for the first few chapters, but even just the date, like how do you fit in the hour it takes to work out, then the hour to change, then the hour to commute or whatever. It's like, okay, it's 3 hours to stay slim and trim, and this business has got to go 12 hours a day. So it's just conflicts, and then and now I have to start taking some credit. Basically, when COVID happened, I'm like, well, that chapter of my life is over, the vanity.
Yeah.
I'm getting comfy.
Yeah. I mean, like, when it comes to weight gain, I've dealt with this my whole life. I've been a fat boy and a fat man.
You know.
Yeah. Yes, I've had not just big bone, I have big blood. That's what the doctor said to me. And you're a big-blooded boy. There's so much blood in your big cow heart. And what you realize, and what's difficult about weight specifically, is that, you know, it's a vice that people can see on you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had, like, a gambling problem or even, like, some drug addictions or drinking problems, it's not noticeable. But I always feel like anytime I walk into a room, people are like, I know what's wrong with that guy. And it is something you work on.
Yeah.
But some people like me, I've had it my whole life. And being in front of a camera, I'd rather jump into a sack and throw myself off Niagara Falls. But here we are today, enjoying some food and doing our best. But it is a struggle so many people have, right?
Yeah.
With weight.
Yeah. And my wife's is like, every day it stares me in the mirror. She's as skinny as they come, and she works out and she diets, and it's a whole big discipline. Then I'm like, well, at least one of us will be alive for the kids.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't fit. It's not been a priority, or really, it's not a labor of love for me going to bench press or to run a mile.
You were starving yourself to get where you wanted to be. And then you get to where you want to be, right? With your successful business, your YouTube empire, and then there's no reason for you to stay that thin anymore. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's fun. Well, listen, and I looked at some of my fellow YouTubers. H3H3, he put on a ton. Philip DeFranco got pretty big. We were going through some very stressful growing pains on the internet. There's no safety net. The adpocalypse and the cancel culture, and you're trying to pay other people's wages and keep a business running. Your health, physically and mentally, becomes second nature. Now, what I am missing out on is getting on that Ozempic plug.
Yeah.
I think that might be the solution that fixes all my problems.
Yeah, I mean, it is a thing that you can use, and some people call it cheating, but listen, it's not. It's anything that you can use to help you on this journey through life that you got to do sometimes.
And after this meal today, I'll probably qualify as a diabetic. So,
oh, for sure you will. Yes. Let's move on to another classic, the Great American Cheeseburger.
Oh,
Hamburg
Jesus.
was eventually invented in Germany, the town of Hamburg, but it became synonymous with American food and culture. And speaking of somebody who is a giant in culture, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's not just a celebrity to you, right? He was the guy. He was the guy. You studied him. You imitated him all throughout being a child into college and university. The first Before They Were Famous was based on a biopic you wrote about him. And then one day, boom, you're standing face to face with your idol, right? And what I want to know is what's going through your head at that moment when you meet Jim Carrey. And also, I want you to be real with me. What was the most awkward part of that interaction? Because meeting your hero is one thing.
good question.
But keeping yourself together, keeping yourself cool when you're meeting your hero is another.
Yeah. On the last part, I was a little afraid he was going to look me up and be like, that's the guy who's been tweeting me for 10 years? Like, stalker. Like, if he knew who I was, he might have actually called the cops.
Yeah.
Because I've been an obsessive fan. I was never into Twitter. I was never into MySpace. I wasn't really an internet guy. I was a TV guy. But everything I look like, if you get first time on the internet, what the hell am I going to look up? I look up Jim Carrey. I go look at clips. I go check out what his website's about. First time I got on Twitter, who are you going to follow? I don't know. Jim Carrey. He was kind of like a consistent theme and a consistent interest for me. And the deeper thing of that is like growing up, you're like, okay, I'm in Canada. I like show business. He gives you that hope, and his meteoric rise doing the slapstick stuff. Like, I would take drama classes and want to play the goofiest guy in the world, and that doesn't fit into typical acting, the college courses and the university courses I took. You're supposed to do as little as possible and emote and be real.
Yeah.
I want to ham it up. So the hamming it up, the Canadian thing, he was the only, he became a compass for me, saying there is a way out. There is a way forward.
He was a lot like you growing up. He's just regular parents who are working regular jobs, don't have a ton of money, both in Canada, both taking big risks, right? Like, if as a Canadian entertainer, if you can't appreciate that, you must have famous parents who are funding you, right? That's just kind of how that works. For everyone else who's just trying to make their way in the world without a helping hand, you idolize Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
But when you're standing in front of him for the first time, what is going through your mind?
It was a couple of days, man. It was surreal. So first I spent 3 days sitting directly behind him on set. So at this point, they put me in a movie theater right behind him, and I'm counting the hairs on his ears. So your brain's like, spent so many years just idolizing is really the word, to see them in the flesh.
Hairy ears, that guy? Does he have hairy ears?
He's got hairy ears.
Okay, Jim Carrey.
I'm counting them. Then it was a bush. When you have that peach fuzz,
Yeah.
he's never shaved them because they're still very large and in charge.
Okay.
He was, to me, it was just unbelievable that this person lives and breathes and walks around with us. And, the moments when the camera's not rolling and he's just shooting the shit with the crew or entertaining the extras. I was in a group of extras. He wasn't a human being. I'm dying.
Mike
here.
is having a heart attack.
I'm dying.
This is not a good first episode.
I'm dying.
He is.
Oh my god, the burger.
It's coming up.
You
all right? Have some Diet Coke. It's got 0 calories. You need 0 calories, and you don't.
I think I'm having palpitations.
Okay.
So listen, I got a moment. Boston. So the guys who, the Farrelly brothers who made the movie Dumb and Dumber 2, the one I was in, they took the crew to a bar to watch Boston win the World Series. So Jim was there, and I got a short moment there. He wasn't drinking because he obviously had to be on set. He was looking for a Red Bull.
Yeah.
And that was my in. So I went to the bar, bought the Red Bull, probably only money I had to my name. Came back, gave it to him, gave me the nicest thank you. And then, I mustered up the courage in that moment to shake his hand and just tell him, you've meant so much to me in my life and career. And just gave me a very sincere thank you, heartfelt. I was still a starving actor, down on my luck, and he transponded some hope and sympathy or emotion. Yeah. There was an exchange, and again, I'm like, this guy's done it all. Humble, happy, just someone that even today I still look up to what he's doing and what he's working on, and it just gives me further motivation. Life goes on into your 70s.
You're such a big Jim Carrey fan that when you hit it big, you didn't go out and buy a fancy sports car or get a giant house. You went and you bought the actual heart-shaped tub from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Now, what have you done with it? And more importantly, what have you done in it? And be honest with it. Be honest with us.
Hold on, what are we eating on this one?
No, this is a continuation. You still have some burgers.
Oh,
sir.
God, dude,
you
you're
almost
killing
had
me.
A heart attack. It's not done yet. Keep going.
It was a delicious burger. Reminds me of Dumb and Dumber. Why don't you eat up and we'll tell you.
Yeah.
The hot tub, yes. So it was a fortunate time in my career. I think it was maybe the beginning of COVID. So I had a surplus of cash. My wife had gotten an engagement ring, and this news article pops up. Elderly couple out in Vancouver Island. They got the one and only Dumb and Dumber hot tub, the heart-shaped one. And I wouldn't know if the truck was available, the shaggin' wagon.
Yeah.
Maybe that would trump this. But I thought a hot tub's got some practical use. You can install it. You can put it up on the wall. Whatever. It's worth the purchase to reward myself. I'm not a very splurgy guy. I never really bought anything with all the YouTube success. I kept like this desk, camera equipment, staff. I would always reinvest into the company. So it was a good way to kind of put a bow on my YouTube success career, buy a one-off item no one else can have, and it now sits in my garage uninstalled, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it.
Let's continue on. We went from Dumb and Dumber to Heavy and Heavier. You're going to put that burger down and indulge in some classic New York cheesecake. I want you to eat it like a slice of pizza.
No fork?
No fork. You're going to hand bomb this one right into your mouth.
Jesus.
As I continue to ask you questions. All right. Since this is a food-based show, and I'm feeling it. Are you feeling this? That's exactly it. Now, let's say you're locked into a lifetime meal plan. One comfort food or one fast food spot forever. No switching it up. No cheat days. Just ride or die with one choice. What's making the cut and why? Is this going to be like a childhood comfort food, or are you just going to go full goblin mode and eat something completely reckless for the rest of your life?
Is it one restaurant or one meal?
Either or.
All right, I got two answers. Restaurant, I would go with Swiss Chalet.
Okay, Canadian classic, a chicken restaurant.
Another Canadian classic, the rotisserie. At work, it was my first job at 16, 15 maybe. I started working there. There's a girl I fancied worked there. I got fired. I found out the guy was hooking up with the elderly waitresses in the office. That's a side start.
Yeah.
That rotisserie chicken, fall off the bone, delicious. The Swiss Chalet sauce, I'd fill up my hot tub, my Dumb and Dumber hot tub with that chalet sauce. It is just the most delicious thing known to man. And the menu's pretty good if you travel around. The wings could use an improvement, but I think it's just a go-to classic. I'd be happy with that restaurant if I had to pick one. It's
not my choice, but it is yours, and that's something I respect. That is Fantastic.
I could also go into the kitchen and cook up a lot of the stuff myself. That comes into play. Also, the older you get, the more you like Socialet. It's kind of like a senior citizen hangout. So I'm thinking long term here, bro. Like, what am I going to eat forever? You know, you outgrow pizza. You'd outgrow shawarma. You're going to want to get some nice rotisserie chicken, some gravy fries.
You want a soft meat.
Yeah.
You only need one tooth to chew.
I'm going long term, bro.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue down the road.
Please give me a break. Please tell me there's something.
We're going to go lighter.
Okay.
Pokemon biscuits.
Oh, my God.
Pokemon biscuits.
Gotta catch them all, okay?
You got to catch them all and you got to eat them all. That's how that works. That's the other side of that story. So I'll hand you a little package of Pokemon biscuits.
Oh, I think I'm having a heart attack.
We are not doing well. And as you dig in, I'll ask the next question. In 2018, you meet your beautiful wife. And by 2019, she's not just your partner in life. She's your partner in business. Turning once was a very lonely solo grind into a full-fledged family operation. Now, mixing love and work is a bold move. Some say it's the ultimate power couple play. Others say it's a fast track to sleeping on the couch. What have been the biggest wins of building this empire together? And also on the flip side, what are the biggest challenges of running a business with someone who you also share a bed with every night? Who could choke you out in your sleep? You look like you have apnea. She just has to plug your nose for 3 seconds.
I will have it tonight. Yeah, it's a good question. I remember being in Vegas where we got married, and hanging out with people that I met there, and some big CEO was like, "Well, 70% of marriages where they work together end in divorce." Cheers to you, brother. We're off to a great start.
Oh gosh,
I'm getting married tomorrow. You know what I mean? Talk about that was a bad stat to learn, right? But it takes a certain. These are great. It takes a certain. Listen, when we met, she never even watched the YouTube video, so it was definitely not about being with me for the artsy persona, the vanity, the fame stuff. She had no interest in any of that. She was with me. We knew mutual people. We were attracted to one another. We'd have a good laugh. So that was a good foundation, a good starting point. If she was, and there was other girls that were, found me on the internet or thought I would be a good person to hitch their ride to. Yep. So once we got that out of the way, and then I brought her in slowly, and I put her on her own channel. And actually, like the first video she did, she'll tell you herself, wasn't fantastic, right? Like she had a lot to learn, but that was kind of the deal breaker. Is like, I got to work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. The business is go, go, go. And if you don't want to get in on it and join the train, because the train's moving, you're going to get left behind, or I just can't fit you into my life. So she was happy and accommodating, and she just jumped all in. And I think that was what made it a successful go. And then she just wouldn't go away. So I had to marry her.
Wow. So it's like, I don't have time for anything right now. So if you want to be on the McCrudden, you got to get on the McCrudden video train. And she did it. And
you know what? Soon after we started dating, I got canceled.
Yeah.
And the amount of crazy stuff that was coming my way on the internet, and for her to not get scared off, and I was losing my shit, right? So for her to console and help and invest in me, it really meant a lot. And in this world, it's better to go at it in a team.
Yeah.
One man can't take on everything.
All right, so we're going to hit up the Pop-Tarts.
Oh my God, I really
Pop-Tarts.
can't eat more.
Frosted chocolate fudge Pop-Tarts. Our calorie count must be in the thousands. These are Pop-Tarts. Chocolate frosted, a staple in breakfast tables. A staple on breakfast tables all around the world. Oh, how you feeling right now? We've done quite a bit of gluttony.
It goes from candy to cheesecake to cheeseburgers. It's the order in which they're doing it. I think that's hurting me the most.
Yes, it is a gauntlet of gluttony. That's what we're doing.
You had to go with the chocolate Pop-Tarts too?
I had no choice.
It's a new. Like, we've done everything, and now I have to add chocolate to the...
You want to cleanse your palate with some of this old pizza? To get a little bit of spice back in your mouth?
No, but I might take your cheesecake home.
Well, it's all yours. All of this is yours. It's a gift from me to you. Let's move on, Mike. As you are enjoying the Pop-Tart, we go on to the next question. Michael, You've taken all the wins, the losses, the hard lessons, and now you're passing them down as a professor. You're a professor now in creative industries, shaping the next generation of content creators. It's wonderful. Now, here's the thing. They teach students about lighting, sound, editing, but there's no textbook about getting canceled, right? There's no lesson. So what do you tell your students about surviving the modern day mob? What do you tell your students what to do when the audience turns on you? And from your own experience, what's been the biggest lesson about navigating backlash and keeping your career alive when things get rough?
Thank you. Great question. You're going to have to give some opt-out in this show. There's got to be one thing where people say, I can't touch that.
You can't touch that?
That's not my favorite.
You can have some pizza if you like. Get into the pizza again. There's still a lot of a Reese's peanut butter cup.
There's people starving in the world. We're gonna get canceled for the gluttony.
I'm gonna force feed it to you off air. It's okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. So it's funny, to be completely frank. In financial classes, I teach entrepreneurship, and I break down some of the back ends of my channels and show some of the money that's actually come in. And, to be completely frank, we're looking at millions of dollars over 10 years. So the students start asking, what the hell happened to you?
Yeah.
And that's a tough, you're in your professional
You're
environment.
saying that because you're no longer where you used to be financially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The truck I'm driving isn't the Mustang that I once upon a time used to whip around in.
Yeah.
Clothes ain't fitting, but that's more because of fat ones than financial prosperity. But anyway, the reality is that you got 10 years, right? I think a YouTube channel is good for about 10 years without outside investment. Even Mr. Beast is getting venture capitalists involved, right? So I was just a one man with a great show, and it's like, how much gas do I have in the tank? And eventually the show became me finding other hosts and stuff was too costly for a profit, and then me doing it all on my own is just not sustainable. So things slow down and things aren't what they used to be, and part of that is just because of the capacity of what I'm capable of pulling off, but also competitors, and then mistakes or cancel culture. So yeah, I've had some serious, very public situations where people didn't like what I was doing, or I got into spats with other creators, and I tried to handle everything as best I could in the moment. I had demands of employees and studios and operating things. The train's moving, and at the end of the day, everything I did, I don't think I ever did anything that was criminal. Like writing a biography. Once someone chooses to become a public figure, their story and what everyone's saying about them becomes public gossip. It's been like that since the Greeks and the Romans. And a lot of people try to poke holes in my business, that it was this and it was that. And oftentimes those people are up to more shady shit than me. So, business is war, and it's a tough grind. I just tell my students to, as long as everything you're doing is ethical and you feel, or what you're doing isn't a crime, you're not a criminal, you should be good to go.
I will say there's some of those bios you did after, certain celebs passed away, that they didn't get that kind of coverage in the news media. And that for a lot of people, you were telling a story that, listen, Entertainment Tonight or another show will cover a famous rapper dying for 30 seconds maybe.
Yeah.
As opposed to really giving their life story some true depth and appreciation. And people came after you, in my opinion, unfairly, and then some points were made that I did agree with at the time, but I don't think that you always, to me, you seem to always apologize, move forward, and you made changes along the way.
Yeah, it's and listen, when do I want to know about these famous people the most is when they're no longer with us. And that was the ethos of the show, is it's not 30 seconds, it's 10 minutes or so, why they're important, what they look like as a baby, some of their most iconic moments, a good leading man host breaking it all down. The show's not about me, it's about paying tribute to the legends and the most iconic human beings on the planet. And man, I wish it didn't happen, but it did.
Mike, since we were talking about the past, I want to go into the past in this specific interview and share a fun food fact. I'm going to need you to take your Reese's half peanut butter cup. You haven't eaten a lot of it. And I need to tell you about this stuff.
So heavy.
I want you to take a big bite while I explain something to you. It's
God.
a lesson.
Peanut butter.
It's a lesson about food that also is a lesson about life. Now, when Mr. Reese's was trying to come up, this was just a guy, a chocolatier with a dream. He has a family that's struggling through the depression, okay? People are like, hey, pick up a hammer, stop making chocolates. He's like, I believe in myself. And he finally gets enough eyes on the Reese's peanut butter cup to where it's just about ready for mass production. And one day, a chef, one of his peanut butter chefs, came up to him and said, I have terrible news for you. We burnt the peanut butter. We burnt this batch. We have to throw it in the garbage. And Mr. Reese's says, let me try that. And he takes a bite. And he goes, no, leave it. This is the new recipe. The Reese's Pieces, the Reese's peanut butter we love today was a result of an accident. They overcooked the peanut butter initially.
Yeah.
And that's what gives it
is good.
its distinct flavor. So sometimes our biggest mistakes can be our greatest victories. It just takes time and patience and a bit of appreciation for the journey to set it all straight. And this is a story I want to tell my kids, but I fear diabetes will take my legs before I get that chance. So let's keep going. We have one.
Break it down.
How are you feeling?
I'm exploding, bro. You're going to need a barf bucket for future guests. This is not humanly feasible. This is too much.
I am concerned, Mike, because my next guest was supposed to be Ariana Grande. And I'm going to have to rethink everything now because I don't know how she's going to do that. This is not going to be good for us. Okay.
Yeah.
The final feast is upon us.
Okay.
And for the
Thank
final
God.
feast, we have something pure Canadian. We have
You got to be joking me.
the Canadian Classic. If you don't know what the Canadian Classic is, we got a clip for you.
Now, I've been holding on to this secret recipe for far too long. Today, I'm going to share it with you guys. So here are the ingredients. Let's get into it. Okay, first off, what you're going to want to do, guys, you're going to want to pick up yourself some poutine. Now, this is a Canadian classic in itself. Next, we picked up a pack of Timbits, 50 Timbits here. If you don't know what these are, it's Tim Hortons. It's the center of the donut. Just want to, cover up the poutine and be sure you can dig through, but just get a nice sugary flavor on top. Next, we're going to move on over to the ketchup chips. Now, these apparently are not sold anywhere else but in Canada. Growing up, boom. Layer number 2, crack them up if you like. What kind of Canadian dish would not be complete without some good old-fashioned Canadian bacon? Oh my God, best ingredient. And finally, to top it all off, of course, we have good old maple syrup. Now, this one's actually legit. Like, this actually is delish. Cracking it up, hitting them with a spoon, and telling them, dig in. Okay.
Oh yeah.
One. It's really good.
All right, Mike.
Are you for real?
Yep,
You're eating this as well.
I am.
Okay.
I am.
And this is how we end the show.
Yeah.
This is a bowl of heart attack.
This is how it's a bowl of heart attack.
Oh my
We're doing
God.
it.
I got
Support.
bacon, chip.
Oh God.
Maple syrup. That's good. The bacon, good.
Michael McCrudden, you're from a kid Mississauga with a dream to the man behind the before they were famous. You've built an empire documenting the rise of others, all while navigating your own ups and downs in the spotlight. You've been a model, a host, a creator, a professor. You got your own heart-shaped hot tub from the set of Dumb and Dumber. You met your hero, Jim Carrey, looking back on everything, the highs, the lows, the controversies, the wins, the losses, the cancellations. Oh, God. If before they were famous, did an episode on you after you were gone, okay, what would you want the final words to be?
He's a workhorse. We couldn't put him down. Rain or shine, I still show up. You can't put a good man down. You know, I gotta continue putting on this show or variations of shows. I'll be working like some of the legends ahead of us. You know, Tom Green, Conan O'Brien, Robert Downey Jr. These guys are 50, 60, and they're still out there putting shows on, entertaining the people. So I might be in a stage, if I survive this, I might be in a chapter where I'm just trying to figure out where my next footing is, what the next era of my career looks like. But no, I'll be there. I'll put on a show. I think I'm one of the most famous Canadians on the internet. You know, not like Lily Singh, she's bigger than me, but there's a lot of people that I was able to blow past and create this great identity and brand. I get stopped on the street every day. So let's just let's hope there's something new and big on the horizon, and I can figure out what I'm gonna do with it. And who knows, it might be more eating everything under God Green's earth with you.
Yes, we've compiled a Noah's Ark of foods today. We've eaten 2 of every animal under the sun. And collected them not on an ark, but in our bellies. As Michael is about to vomit.
Oh, my body gave up.
And his...
It said no more.
Oh, he is going down. Oh, no. Mike. Oh, no. Are you okay? You got this.
I hit my max.
You hit your max. We're done. Michael, we have all the cameras. You've survived the final feast. You've survived the final feast. You've answered big questions with even bigger portions behind.
I didn't think it would be the poutine that would push me to the
limit. It has, and you might not even. But in the cameras here, all of them, please. Tell us what you got going on, what you're up to. Any final messages, any words of support or encouragement?
I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I'm just a Canadian trying to make it through the, they say survive till 2025. This has been, when COVID hit, things got tight, but it's gotten tougher and stranger ever since. And just keeping a roof over our head and keeping a business afloat is as much as I can really handle at the moment. But of course, like any entertainer or Canadian, I'm hoping for better days. I'm hoping for big wins and big adventures in the future. And anyone who's feeling the pain, I'm still posting content each and every week. You can find me on Before They're Famous, Famous News, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram. I'm everywhere, still posting daily. So stick around, and I'm hoping to have a big splash sometime this year.
I'm Jay Brody. This has been Fat Ones. Until next time.